bundle, 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 bundle. My rap style's boom bap, articulate, never mumble. Disney, Hulu, and Max just announced a bundle on the services websites to where customers will be funneled. Apple TV and Paramount Plus is a bundle. Everyone wants to be the one with the buzz like a bee that bumbles. ESPN, TNT, and Fox are now a bundle. A sports JV that Fubo TV hopes will take a tumble. Disney, Hulu, and ESPN is a bundle. I'm over the top, never below like a trundle. Max launched in France with Canal Plus, so it's a bundle. You can catch me in a Parisian bistro, drink a German dunkel. Verizon has Netflix and Max, it's a bundle. This rhyme pattern is getting long like the hair of Rapunzel. But isn't Netflix by itself inherently a bundle? A collection of things wrapped up together that you don't want to fumble. The streaming wars is crazy. Welcome to the jungle. I'm a product of the 80s like Guns N' Roses and Mr. Fungal. Blinded by the light at the end of the tunnel. Zora issues subscriptions or Professor G is to the rundle. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready.
And welcome to the next series of the Bytesize sessions. And today I have got one of our guests who is from our product part of the business. He's the VP of product. It is Kai. Welcome, Kai. How are you doing today?
Hi, thanks, Ben. I'm doing great, thank you. I solved the challenge of ice on my car when you're already late for the school run this morning for the first time this year. How are you?
Yes, I'm doing well, thank you. And I'm excited to get stuck into this session. So I just want to just look at, I think I can see a moustache on there. What's going on there? Are you growing it out for Movember?
Yeah, that's right. So this ridiculous moustache is part of Movember, which is a month-long event where men grow a moustache to raise awareness for men's physical and mental health issues. So yeah, it will be gone 1st of December.
Well, that's great. Thank you very much for that. And let's get stuck in then, shall we? Let's get right back into it. So let's start off with looking at the subscription economy. So as you know, the subscription economy is booming, right? It is growing exponentially. I think the latest stats that I received from Juniper was saying that it's going to be valued at $1 trillion by 2028. It's a huge, huge market. And interestingly, from our research that we've done, we're seeing that 1 in 5 people are signing up their subscriptions through indirect channels. Now, that's an interesting part. So that is subscribing to Netflix through your telco, through your bank, and so on. So it's through that indirect channel is very interesting. 1 in 5, 20%. And similarly, Omdia data is supporting this as well from the SVOD subscriptions, which it's coming up to 1 in 4, which is 25% by 2029. So it's a very interesting market to be a part of. And we do a lot of global research through 2024, and we've done it through the previous years as well. And it's all pointing to one area where consumers are craving that convenience and control over their subscriptions, bringing them all into one place. And this is a global picture, as you can see from the stats on screen. So very interesting place to be playing. But we know that the world of indirect channels is complicated. Instead of going that direct interaction between content providers and consumers, now it's actually broadened. When you think about the indirect channels, there's a third party involved, the resellers. So without further ado, I want to dive into this into a little bit more detail, and I'll pass over to you, Kai, because we want to solve this. We don't want any angry customers, do we now?
No, it's exactly right. So the point being is that when it gets complicated, the last thing you want to do is you want to put that complication onto your consumers. So when we start thinking about, there's 3 challenges I want to talk to you about today. And the first one is that cancelling is never that simple. Now, we're going to start with how simple that can be when it's direct to the consumer. So we've heard all the subscriber surveys that Ben's talked about and that everyone has seen all over that say consumers are spending a lot on subscriptions. Everything is a subscription now, and there are plenty of subscriptions people just aren't using. So let's say we do an audit, and in our subscriptions, we identify several of them that we can just go through and cancel. So when it's direct to consumer, can be fairly straightforward. You go onto the website or the app or however that subscription's managed, you find the cancel button, you click confirm to cancel it, and you enjoy the service for the rest of the billing period. So you get a message that says it's terminated, your subscription will end on this date. That's what we call a soft cancel. You terminate, but actually you get a period of time still to enjoy the service. When we talk about hard bundles is when we talk about terminating and the service immediately stops, and then we have to work out things like proration. These things, though, are relatively straightforward when we talk direct to consumer, and it's only going to get easier with regulation like click to cancel. But as we mentioned at the start, when we start thinking about the channel, that just adds another layer of complication. So I was preparing for this session, and we saw on the previous screenshot and this screenshot, I went to cancel my Netflix. So I went to Netflix to see how easy it is to cancel. And that's a common pattern that we actually see in our user research, is that actually consumers go, when it's in the channel, they 50% of the time go to the content providers where they're watching things, and 50% actually they're going over to the resellers where they got it from. So I went onto my Netflix site and I couldn't cancel because actually I have my Netflix through my Sky subscription. So then it's cheaper. That's why I went there. However, I'd completely forgotten it. So I was presented, therefore, with the first challenge that I want to talk about, which is cancelling in the channel can be complicated. And this is just one example. There are many examples. So when it comes to cancelling, creating, activating, suspending your subscriptions, the channel can be complicated to get right, but you don't want to pass that on to the consumer. So where can the consumer cancel from? Is it a cancel and enjoy the service to the end of the billing? The soft cancel we talked about. Is it a hard cancel? How do I then deal with the billing and the refunds? So I got to the Netflix site. As I said, I can't cancel Netflix from Netflix. But I also, in this really extreme case, I can't even cancel it from the Sky website because there are other ways that I have to go through to cancel.
God, it does sound like a horrible customer journey, right? So I think it'd be great to just describe a little bit more of a customer journey that is good from your eyes.
Yeah, sure. So the point that we always try and get across when we're working with our customers and when we're designing the products and building the products that we have is there are now more combinations of journeys that you need to think about, and there are more unhappy paths or happy as well. Actually, there's more happy paths. There's not just one happy path of cancel. There's now multiple places to do this from. So it's not just about providing that one cancel journey. It's really important to design it with the whole customer journey and the whole customer experience in mind, whether that's reseller initiated cancels or that's content provider initiated cancels. And how they want to offer that cancel. Is it a hard cancel? Is it a soft cancel? And how it is. All of those combinations need thinking about in all the different entry points for that journey.
Very interesting. I think, I think we'll move on because I think we're going to come on to this a little bit later into the slide, but having that ability to have that flexibility really of cancelling on both sides, I think is really important for the customer. So we'll move on to challenge 2. We heard in the lead up on the countdown, bundle by Kirby, which this particular area is bundle, unbundle, bundle. So I'd like you to just share a little bit more information on this side for us, Kai.
Yeah, that rap's catching, isn't it? So I couldn't resist a little play on bundle. And the point is that it's never just about bundling. It's actually about all these other different things, these different pieces that come part of it. And so, again, we're going to step back and we're going to think about direct to consumer first. So I've just signed up for Netflix. Again, I'm using Netflix as a recurring example today, but any of the services that offer different product tiers or different products follow into this example. And often where we've gone through in our purchase flow, I've chosen a tier or a product from the provider. So in this example, we're talking about I've gone to Netflix and I've chosen standard with ads, or I've chosen premium. Now, during that period of the activation flow and the acquisition flow, there are many chances to upsell. We only have to think of sort of supermarket shopping or any e-commerce site that now when you check out, you get presented with all sorts of different things you can add to your basket to bundle, right? So this sort of idea of upselling during the checkout journey, you've got someone who is going to buy, we're going to try and make as much as we can at that point for the consumer. So this really fits into that path where for subscription services, the perfect chance to upsell is when they're already going through those buying signs. It could be that actually it's after a month worth of watching and they've watched something that they really like and they want to carry on, but it also can be just when they're activating. So it's relatively simple, direct to consumer. You go through and you add the one you want. But when it becomes the channel, things get a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to take one example here, which is a bank current account that gives you Disney standard with ads for 12 months as a perk when you sign up to a bank account.
So would you say this is an example of like a bad example of a customer flow? Because there's some interesting dynamics around this particular one, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that the bit that becomes really interesting in this is not the initial offer looks really useful, right? I have children, they like Disney. We kind of have the Disney stuff just because the back catalogue so useful for kids. And when we sort of look at an offer like this, it looks really attractive to consumers. So you go through it, and actually, if you have a look at things like this, at the moment, the only tier offered is standard with ads. So what that means is that
you can't upgrade. Is that what you're saying?
Upgrade. So how do I handle this? And so this hurts both sides of the channel, right? So there is a likelihood when if someone reads before they sign up, they would say, oh, actually, no, I don't want that one. I want to be able to download onto tablets before I take them on holiday, or I want to be able to do it. And it hurts Disney because, hang on, I can't do that. So what you find is that both channel partners don't have the optimum journey, and because the consumer experience is impacted. And we often find this sort of approach happens when vouchers are used as opposed to bundling and add to bill approaches for entitlements.
So have you got an example of kind of a good flow then to talk through, Cal?
Yeah, so I think one of the best ways that we see, and I just touched on it in the last point, is when you are managing an entitlement, a right to access that product or service, and you are using the channel to split the billing for it. So one part of the channel, the reseller, takes care of the billing, and one side takes care of the entitlement and the service. What that means is that actually the flows can be far simpler. They can actually provide you the similar sort of experience to the direct to consumer. So in this example, the entertainment pack of EETV comes with Netflix standard. Now, do you see Netflix from the previous example? They're not going to want to miss out on those things. They're going to want to show how amazing Netflix is. Therefore, you want to upsell. So whether that's upselling as they go to activate, or they upsell afterwards, they've watched the first series because they really like it and they want to share it across the household. This is the sort of experience that we see, is where actually that change of package is absolutely allowed and encouraged by both sides of the channel.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a very interesting part of thing, talking about this with just kind of one content provider, right? So what a bundle of just one content provider, Netflix in this example, or Disney Plus. I imagine when you start talking about multiple content providers in the same bundle, it gets very, very complicated, right?
Yeah, that's right. And this is the sort of complication actually I love. It's really one of the things that makes building products at Bango so great, and finding solutions to these sort of real challenges. So offers in the channel is one thing, but offers, when those offers are full of preset bundles or soft bundles or whatever it might be, becomes increasingly challenging. So if we look at these two examples here, whether it's a TV package or a mobile package, with that first party, you are then having a bundle of third-party services. So the two examples here are Netflix and Max, or Peacock, Netflix, and Apple. You get those three if you buy Xfinity or if you buy Unlimited Plus. Now, both of these come with a standard tier, right? So the Netmax, as you can see on the advert there, is with ads.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you now going to be in this situation where I'm convinced during the activation that actually I don't want Netflix with ads, or I don't want Max with ads. I want to upgrade one of them. So but I only want to upgrade one of them, or both of them, or neither. So we've got now a set of combinations and a growing set of combinations for how to handle this. So with bundles and bundled offers in the channel, things just got a little bit more complicated because it's very easy to break or unbundle that bundled offer.
Hey guys, so if I have my own Netflix account already, say I've got a premium Netflix account, but I want to take on this bundle, right? How does that kind of work, for example?
Yeah, so again, this is the real advantage of offers in the channel, and the way I described the split between how the entitlement to the product and service is managed and how it's billed for. So the point I would say to you is just sign up, right? You've got your Netflix account, you will sign up, and what you will see is that all that happens is the billing relationship shifts.
Okay.
Your account remains as it is. You've still got your account, no changes to your personalization, no changes to your just watched or your my list or whatever that might be. But then if you go into your account areas for these, you will then see that's managed by the channel. And that is how we would suggest it. You don't lose any of this by moving to the channel.
Okay, that's good. I think it'd probably be a horrifying thought. You lose all your watch shows, right?
Years and years of personalization there you don't want to lose, right?
Cool. So we talk about the bundle. That's a bit of a mouthful, but I like it. Let's move on to the challenge number 3. This is a slight difference now. We're talking a little bit around billing and master catalogs. I think we're going to get quite technical here, aren't we, Kai?
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to make sure when we talked about these 3 different challenges is I wasn't talking about more or less the same thing, just pitched slightly differently. These are 3 very big challenges that we see with the channel. Now, we talked about entitlements, we talked about offers, and we talked about upgrades and downgrades and bundling and unbundling. But now we're going to talk about the other part of the channel. So we've just split, and we've got the billing now on the one side, and we've got the resellers now taking after the billing. Now, as previously, we're going to start with direct to consumer. So let's imagine ourselves as the content provider. We've got our product catalog. It's not going to need to be the biggest product catalog unless we've got a huge catalog of products and product tiers. So if we think about some of the even to the likes of Amazon's and Google's and things like that, the number of products they have is in the single digits or low tens at most, right? So we're not talking about a huge product catalog. So we're probably going to go with an off-the-shelf e-commerce or a subscription package that's relatively simple to manage your product being delivered direct to consumer. The product's got a billing life cycle, and if it changes price, you're the one making that change and rolling that out. If we change the offers, again, you're the one making that change, we're the one making that change and rolling that out in our catalog.
What about in the channel?
Yeah, so that then builds that we've got to now imagine ourselves as the resellers. Again, because we've split that billing relationship, we've now got the reseller being responsible for that billing part of it. So we've now got already our catalog of first-party products. And so we're going to add to it the catalog of third-party products, because we're billing on behalf of. So we need to know what all those products are in order to be able to bill for them and so on. So we've now got to manage 2 catalogs. But it's only 2 catalogs if the channel is just 1.
I was going to say, because I've spoken to a few telcos where they've got fixed line, they've got broadband, they've got mobile, they've even got TV. So they're a triple or quad play. How does that look?
That's right. So that just builds, again, the complication that you've got to cater for. So now you've not got potentially, again, depending on how the system behaves in the resellers, but you've got multiple product catalogs, potentially multiple billing engines to be able to all manage those things. But
feels stressful. Starting to feel stressful.
But there's another one to add to it, right? Because we're not talking about a single content provider, are we? What we're talking about is growing that, right? So we're saying let's say more than 10. Well, all of a sudden we've got 10 product catalogs from third-party stuff, and I've got a number of product catalogs for my first-party things. This becomes incredibly complicated to manage. So it looks a bit like that. So where we want to think about is if you you're in for a lot of effort in this situation into your back office. So from a telco, we would talk about the BSS and the OSS. You've got a lot of effort involved and regular effort in order to give the flexibility and choice to the end consumers about the offers that we provide. So here, if you choose DIY, you might build this separately, or you might build it into your BSS, OSS. But if you have to make sure, because where duplication comes and keeping things in sync arrive, it leads to huge amounts of reconciliation, managing disputes, and effort, general effort to keep everything in sync. And that is today's challenge 3.
Wowzers! I'm looking forward to digging into the product a little bit now and understanding how we solve for this. So, on the screen, the digital vending machine is the product that we have here. This solution, which brings together subscription products into some of the world's largest ecosystems of consumers to do subscription bundling. Exactly this. So I'll pass over to you, Kai, to talk a little bit more about how our product can overcome some of these really important challenges.
Yeah, so if we come back to the first challenge, and that cancelling is never simple, so you must design for it. This is where choosing something, I'm going to start. This is the start of the pitch. The solution is design with the customer journey in mind. So you really need to start thinking about all of those scenarios, some of which I've talked about today, but they all need really thinking about. And so DVM supports all of those: content provider initiated cancels, reseller initiated cancels, hard and soft. Because over the years of building DVM and the many, many different channels that we've supported, Bango have grown a sort of deep understanding of the customer journey and how to ensure that it's the same or better than direct to consumer. And the power of that kind of platform business approach that Bango takes to this means that there's an abstraction between the two different parties in the channel. So if you consider that you'll never have one channel, so we're always thinking about the growth that you want to experience, how good the subscription economy is. You don't just want one partner, you want many of them. And we know that every channel partner has different APIs, because they do. And so by abstracting that away with DVM, it allows Bango not only to scale and get there quickly with your channel partners, but also even extra special scenarios are possible where the platform in the middle, which is the DVM product, understands how to do things that the other you can't do necessarily direct. So for example, where a reseller doesn't support soft cancel, but you want to be able to provide that journey, this is something that DVM can do.
We've seen it all, Kai. I think we've seen it all.
That's right.
So let's move on to challenge 2 then. So we talked around upgrading and downgrading just with the customer in mind. So let's talk a little bit about the solution for this particular challenge.
Yeah, so we touched on a few of them. There are so many bundle and unbundled paths. I'm just going to unpack 2 of them. And the first one, let's talk about that upgrade and downgrade that we talked about, just because it's so valuable for both sides of the channel. So the normal channel flow will take you through: I've been to the reseller site, I've purchased this subscription to this product or service, and then I go to that service to then go and to activate it and start using it. The happy path is just where, I'm happy with what I've purchased, and I just go ahead and activate it. As we talk about, the normal flow is an activation. You sign up as a consumer, you don't see any of it. Behind the scenes, a sort of activation is to Bango, to DVM, and then on to the reseller. But we talked about there's huge value in that upsell. So something else out of the box, upgrades and downgrades out of the box with DVM, means that actually if you choose to change that tier, that's absolutely fine too. So the upgrade flow is fully supported, where you can just change to premium and carry on, acknowledging that you're going to pay so much more money for that subscription, for that billing, for that entitlement. But behind the scenes, again, you're sending this person upgraded and activated, and DVM then sends that on to the reseller. So it's a seamless approach to that. But we also see paths around bundling and unbundling content provider products. There are some content providers out there who have music, SVOD, and other products in their own bundle, and that they can break apart their bundle. So that is also something that we support out of the box when things come through. So content providers breaking their own bundles as well. And this is the other piece to really dig into is that the offer management piece that we started talking about when we started about content provider bundles just grows in terms of combinations. So one example of a reseller that Bango works with 45 content providers, actually the number of different product promotional offers that are given then to the consumer, the price points, the durations grows and grows and grows. So the count in this slide was put together, we talked about 261 live offers that are being managed. And what that means is that when a consumer is taking some preset offers as bundles, some that are just single standalone items, there are potentially 2,500 combinations of offers that subscribers can take. Again, when we talk about not wanting to add that complication onto the end user, it becomes really crucial that Bango and you are thinking about the customer journey as a whole. So, and finally, and sorry, I was going to say, Ben, I told you I love this complicated stuff. So I mentioned the extra complication when it comes to the content provider bundles. And this is where changing the product also changes the offer that someone takes. So we go back to all those Peacock, Netflix, and Apple sort of bundles. If I've moved one and changed one, this all really falls under what we call bundling strategies with offers in the channel. And I'm looking really forward to next year talking loads more about this, because this is a fantastic space to be in where you can get all the success you need when you start thinking about your bundling strategies in this way.
Cool. Then we're on to the last challenge: master catalogues and billing. That's
right. So first, I'm going to go through a quick aside, and I'm going to define 5 things. And the reason I'm going to define these 5 things is it becomes really important to understand these 5 things as separate items, and that's what gives you the flexibility and the choice and the ability to be able to handle this master catalog problem. So an entitlement is a right or a privilege granted to a person or an organization to access a product. So we would talk about an entitlement to Netflix standard. And that product, therefore, is the Netflix standard piece. So the right of access to a product. So that's where a product is. It's that tangible or intangible, digital or physical product. The offer then, and this is where we talk about offers in the channel, the offer is the proposal to the customer, to the end consumer, of providing that product at a price or a set of terms, which is the billing piece. So the billing model and life cycle then is the type of billing model, the type of offer that is offered, that is given to the consumer, and how they should pay for it. And then finally, the charging piece is the collecting the actual payment for that offer.
Now, I don't see subscription on there. Is that purposeful or?
Yeah, so it's one of these things that's come up in our constant conversations with the customers. We're actually seeing, despite the heavy use of subscriptions, when we talk about the subscription economy and the size of the market and those sort of things, when we're actually starting to talk to our customers and prospects, we're actually starting to see less and less use of the word subscription, because subscription is just a type of billing model. And what we're starting to see, because subscriptions become so big, is that our partners are starting to experiment with different business models, whether that's pay-per-views or add-ons or transaction entitlements that you buy and keep forever and things like that. All of those things fit under this same model, but they're not actually really subscriptions anymore. So all of this, so we kind of don't use it as much. We still use it synonymously a little bit with billing and offer, but we keep those things a little bit separate. So what that allows us to do is that Bango is now able to think about those things separately and flexibly. And so let's be honest, every telco and every reseller has its own system, and every content provider also has its own system. So when we start thinking about deploying this channel capability in and using DVM in order to be able to facilitate that, we find that the flexibility and the modularity of DVM drives the right behavior. So no more keeping things in sync, no more huge reconciliation efforts. So we have what we call our DVM core, where we manage the entitlement, and we purely manage the entitlement on behalf of the reseller. In that case, the reseller catalog is holding all the price information, the billing information that's happened, and it sends itself to the charge to the billing agent, to the consumer. Additionally, when we have the conversations with customers, Bango also offers the optional module of a managed billing and charging, which allows the charge to actually be handled by Bango. So again, the DVM is holding the price information, the offer information, and the ability to charge through the billing engine to that consumer. So what you'll see is that at no point are we talking about maintaining that price in both places. It's in one place or the other. And that flexibility of Bango to sort of configure it in both ways allows our partners to not be left with a huge reconciliation task and a huge effort to keep things in sync.
So avoiding the duplication, like you mentioned.
It's just avoiding the effort of keeping everything in sync and thinking about who is the master all the time.
Very interesting stuff. So the channel, it can be complicated, right? As we've shown. But what we're trying to avoid here is passing that complication onto the consumer, right? That's the thing that we're trying to avoid. And the DVM does exactly that, right? We want to make these customer flows as simple as that direct to consumer channel, which we've all tried and we've all enjoyed, right? To be able to do those kind of flows. So we want to replicate that in the channel, and that is the goal here with the Bango DVM, right?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, we want to make it simple. In fact, simpler, because you're now managing multiple ones of your subscriptions. So that's what we want to make it simpler with DVM. So yeah, so the channel can be complicated. We are splitting things. We are adding extra parties to it. So what with DVM, what we take is we take all of that complexity and we actually make it simpler. So when we talk about the three challenges that we've discussed today, these are really covered in those three different top rows that we've got, which is time to market, getting started, making it easier to build multiple offers, because it's possible to onboard only with scale and at speed by covering all of these different happy paths. You're going to impede your ability to do anything at speed and do anything at scale without thinking about that consumer journey. With Bango and with DVM, you get one API. You don't have to worry about how every other channel partner that you may want to and how their API handles this. With Bango, with DVM, you are onboarding to DVM and to the single API that we have. And you quickly and dynamically can put together all those offers that you might want to do because of how the separation of concerns talks about, are you doing it managing just the entitlement? Are you managing the billing and charging? All of that by that sitting within the DVM, you're able to pull together these offers much, much more quickly. So with, I suppose this is a bit of a pitch, right? So Bango has a sandbox. And if you want to give it a try, by all do. So we understand how to navigate these challenges. So we abstract that complexity, allowing you to give that customer experience that you really need to the end users. So as a SaaS product, we're always continually investing and evolving it. So you don't have to. When we're finding these scenarios, they're covered for. So the sandbox is open. Give it a try.
Excellent. Thank you, Kai. I think we've gone quite deep into the product there and kind of understanding a little bit more of how it all kind of comes together and works and why Bango is really here, right? To solve these complexities and complications for customers. I think we should go into a Q&A. I think if we've got a bit of time, it looks like we are overrunning slightly. I'll have a look if there's any sort of messages or comments in the chat. There was one comment that I can see from Caesar saying that this slide hits the nail on the head. It's all about hiding the underlying complexity through good UI. Is there any comments that you want to mention to that?
No, it's exactly right. The point is that the consumers will only go to the channel for two things, right? Most of the time, what we see is they come for price, but they won't stay for price because they'll find that somewhere else. So if you really want to see the advantage of the channel being in your churn reduction and your higher lifetime value for that customer, that UI, that experience has to be as good, if not better, than the consumer.
Excellent. See if there's a few more chats coming through here. Reducing complexity positively impacts customer stickiness and helps lower churn. That's a nice little comment there from someone there. Again, Caesar's come in and said it's great to have the try before you buy option. Is there any particular comments you want to mention on that one?
I'm a product person, right? So I really believe that the product can sell itself. So I love this idea of the product-led growth. So it's our sales team, our marketing team are here really to help you as well. But the product's also there, right? The product, you can live it, you can see how it works, make it work for you.
Excellent. Well, I think I will bring it to a close, Kai. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on for this bite-sized session. I'm sure as we move into next year, there's going to be plenty more of these sessions lined up. And if there's, at any point you have particular challenges or complications that you're dealing with in your role, anything around subscription bundling, feel free to reach out to myself or to Kai. We can run another one of these sessions again in a public forum. We're very much open to any suggestions from you all. But thank you very much for joining, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ben. Thanks, everybody.